receive your comments. Hello, council members. Welcome. Before we get started with some questions from viewers, I think it could be interesting for our audience to hear some answers to questions that the communications office has been receiving by email and through the search tool on the city website. Does that sound good to you both?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. Council recently voted to approve the extension of household food waste composting at the transfer station. For people who have not heard about it, can you explain how it works and where the drop-off container is located? Does the program cost the city money to run or save us money? And where can people find out more information about it?
Okay.
You go first.
Want me to get started?
Yeah,
okay.
You actually do
sure.
this
Yes,
program.
we do it. Yeah. So, hi everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Megan, for setting this up today. Thank you, Lisa, for doing this as well. So,
thank everybody for watching.
Yes, and thank you for watching. So this is a great question, and I think it's a great program too. So. Basically, the way that the composting program works is you can compost food waste, and it's like a bunch of different stuff from meat to like any food scraps while you're cooking, and coffee filters and things, and that's like the very first thing I do in the morning. So at my house,
First thing?
Close to the first thing. My wife Megan and I love the composting. So we have a little container that we have on the counter, and we put stuff in there, like while we're cooking and while we're preparing meals and stuff. And then we have a bucket. I think it's maybe 10 gallons outside in the back on our little porch thing. And then we put that in there, we empty it into there, and then what we do is like maybe once every couple weeks we'll bring it to the transfer station. And when you get there, you scan your thing, you go in, you go off like to the left, and I forget what I'm supposed to be calling that area. It's adjacent to the composting. Yes, thank you. Adjacent to the composting, where the dustiness happens. And there's a sign there that says food composting, and there's a couple of containers there, and you just open them up, dump your stuff in there, and that's really as easy as it is. And what we found is we have way less garbage that we're taking out in bags, and it's also way less smelly, so that's nice. And then on the question of how this affects the city, this does not cost us anything to run, and as a matter of fact, it's hopefully as more people start to do it, it's great for the environment, but it's also going to help save us money, because when we take garbage out of the city, when it's hauled out, we pay for it by the ton. And so if we take all that food waste out of our waste stream, we're paying way less in what they call tipping fees, which is the tonnage that we pay. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big advocate of this program, and I hope everybody will try it. You can find on the website a list of what's compostable, what's not, and it's good. Yeah.
Do you know, I'm just actually going to ask a question if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Do you know if after this Facebook Live, everybody's like, wow, that's great, and we had 50 more people interested?
Yeah.
Do you know that we can handle that volume?
I believe we can, yeah.
Okay.
The hope is that many more than 50 people will, many more than 50 families will start doing this, and it'll really hopefully take off in some. Yeah.
Do we know where it goes after we compost it here? Like, where does it get processed?
We do. And I forget the name of it, but it's brought to a place where it's turned into this sort of slurry. And I don't remember exactly where it goes, but then it's used to produce clean energy, I think.
Clean energy?
Is what
The slurry is made in Elizabeth.
Yes.
And the
company's Green Bucket.
Green bucket.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And then I guess when it's slurried, then where does it go after that? Is it that it gets bagged up for for planting?
I think it's used in clean energy production, but I have to check on that.
Oh, like literal energy,
Yeah,
not going into someone's garden to grow.
No.
veggies.
I think it's.
That's really.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
And we can find out, and we can
We can
update
follow up
people
with
at
that,
the council meeting.
Yes,
Sure.
that would be great.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
Next question. Would you please explain the thinking behind council's approval of the new 30-minute parking on the north side of Union Place? We are receiving a lot of comments about it. Most are not positive. Who requested the change?
Sure. Do you want to start with
Well,
this
you
one?
have the
Because-
history. I mean, I
Okay,
feel like you
sure.
know the history, and then I can give why I voted the way I did.
Sure. So I think breaking it down to its most simple thing is what the goals here are try to decrease the amount of illegal parking and double parking that's happening on Union Place. We see people, everybody that drives in town sees people that are double parked, blocking people in, but also then parked in the yellow zones and the loading zones and the handicap spots, and they're not supposed to be there. So we're trying to decrease that, but also increase the likelihood that if you're going to one of those businesses on Union Place, a lot of which are sort of a run in, run out sort of thing, that there's a higher likelihood that you might find a spot there. So this was actually an idea that came from one of the business owners on Union Place, and it was to sort of basically say, look, these are the most valuable parking spaces in our entire town, these parking spaces right here, and we really need to keep them moving through with people. And so we discussed this in a number of places. We discussed this in the Community Programs and Parking Services Committee of Council. Then we talked about it in our Parking Advisory Committee, which consists of residents and property owners downtown and our parking professionals. We talked about it in our Economic Development Advisory Committee with Summit Downtown Inc. And overwhelmingly with those groups, this was a positive idea that we should try out. So we have more 30-minute spaces. All the ones on the north side are 30 minutes, unless they were already 15-minute express, and then those are going to stay 15-minute express. But you work downtown, so what do you think?
Yeah, so I'll give my rationale why I voted yes. Because I work downtown. I'm between the office and UPS store. So when I look out my window, I often will see people double parking, and they are running in and out of certain stores. And so, there's two pieces here. There is part of enforcement. So obviously, we're not here to say that we shouldn't be enforcing, because that is an aspect that we need to consider. But the second piece is that when people are running in and out, they're blocking in cars, people can't get out. I hear a lot of horns. And I was encouraged by the idea that the genesis was, it came from a business owner. They met with the businesses all along that side who were in support of it. That's my understanding. And so for me, being down there, I feel like it is nice to be able to park somewhere quickly, run in, do a couple little things. Yeah. This is not to go, I love blow in, blow out, so this is not for that particular type of activity. But it is if you want to go into UPS. It is if you want to go into Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. So that was, for me, I feel like I wanted to support an idea where people could run in, run out. Yeah. Parking is always an issue downtown. Oh, yeah. And I will say the one thing is when we decide, because I guess parking would review this, how do we measure the success of this? So in 4 months from now or 90 days, whatever is decided, we need to look at it and say, how do we measure success so that we continue or we don't continue? Yeah. And so that's where I think I would look to parking to give us some guidance.
Yeah, the other thing is, generally speaking, the only way that we can try to influence parking behavior is by limiting time and by also changing the pricing. So, of course, we know there are businesses on Union Place, restaurants on Union Place, where you might want to spend more than 30 minutes, and we hope you will. But it's what we're hoping to do is encourage people to go to places where there is longer-term parking available, which is like the Tier Garage, the Broad Street Garage, and, of course, the DeForest Avenue parking lots, where you get up to 5 hours. The first hour is free. So if it's going to be a shopping afternoon and then lunch and then maybe something else, hair appointment or something, those are the places that we're trying to encourage people to go. If it's going to be a quick in and out, we're hoping that first side of Union Place makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, I think, like anything that we're doing, the committee, the Community Programs and Parking Services Committee is going to have to keep reviewing it. And if we decide, this didn't work, it didn't work for us, then we can switch things back. But I think it's going to be good to try for a while.
Yeah. And I just want to recognize that I understand people might be frustrated. And so we're hearing that. I don't want to just gloss over the fact that our sentiment is with regards to voting, that we hear you, and that our ultimate goal is to ensure that the businesses are vibrant downtown, that you can get in, you can shop. We want to attract you. So more to come.
Yeah.
Okay, and more information on parking, where to park, how long you can park is available on the city website.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, and this is a question that came in from Marilyn, and it's related to Union Place. So I figure I'll ask it now before we go back to some of the other things that we were set to talk about. Hi, we are wondering why on Union Place there is no stop sign at the intersection of Maple Street and Union Place. We have had several incidents recently where drivers on Union Place have failed to yield to traffic that is moving on Maple Street, and the drivers on Union Place have acted as if they should just continue driving to go left or right onto Maple without having to look for ongoing traffic. This is an extremely dangerous condition that should be addressed, especially since there are 3 crosswalks at that intersection.
Okay, so stop signs have what is probably the longest list of requirements of anything that we could probably install or do, and some of the, just as an example of some of the what they call warrants for requirements basically that you need to meet to install a stop sign. You need no more or less than a certain number of cars. And I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but we do have the stop sign warrants on the city website that we can look up. But you need no more or less than a certain number of cars. So my suspicion is that Union Place has an incredibly high number of cars, and that might not work well there. But we can look into that with the safety committee and with our CAPS committee. But then also, it has to have no more and no less than an average speed as well. It has to be certain distance from another intersection or another traffic light. So there's a lot of things that go into determining where stop signs can go, but we can add it to our list to look into. And I think, yes.
I will forward this email to the safety committee.
Yes, please.
That's
Please.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah,
I was troubled. I wrote right here. If you send in your request, then a DAR can be formulated, and then the safety committee will take a look at it.
Yeah, those are, you know, it's stop signs. Like, I'm a huge advocate of stop signs. It's just like you get into the details of where they can go, and it's very disappointing where so many places are sort of disqualified based on the engineering requirements that are brought down from the state and stuff. So it's disappointing, but we'll look into that one because it's important, you know.
And I think if for anybody, Amy said that she would forward this on, but anytime you have a concern, it should go to a council member, and a DAR will then get forwarded on to the clerk. So,
Lisa, what's a DAR?
Wait, I was just saying, what does the acronym stand for?
You need it? You need it? I got it.
Yes, what does it stand
it's
for?
discussion, action, or referral.
Okay.
And it's a fun, because we don't have enough acronyms for stuff, right? It's another fun government acronym. But basically,
that's bingo.
Another council meeting bingo item. But it's basically the discussion is going to take place in the committee that it's been assigned to first, and then if we want to discuss it at a council meeting, like we just did that recently with another downtown parking measure, which was those safety sticks that people might remember us talking about, and then that's discussion. Action would be, okay, we're going to definitely do this. Let's put an ordinance or a resolution on our agenda, or referral, which means we're going to refer it to a different agency or a different committee to review or some other entity, and that's where DAR comes from. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah. All right. I'd like to go back to the transfer station, if I may. We've received a couple of questions related to the transfer station and parking. People have been asking, how do I obtain a resident parking permit, and how do I obtain a disposal permit? Is there a way to obtain a permit online and in person at City Hall?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a transfer and parking permit is $10 for the year, and you go online under parking permits, and you can fill it out there. And if you have a problem and have any questions, there's a phone number on the website.
So is that 2 permits or 1 permit, Lisa?
1 permit.
Yes. So one quick trick for that website, when you're putting in your information and applying for your permit, you're going to load your credit card first, and then later in the process, it's going to ask you to actually pay for the permit. And there are two separate things that happen. So once you load the credit card, you think, okay, I'm done. But just make sure you're checking your email and following it through to make sure that it's confirmed and that they're reviewing it. And again, if you have issues, call up the office. They're incredibly helpful and they can guide you right through it.
Oh, and if you buy a new car, you have to get another new
Yeah.
$10 permit. That's an important point to know because
Yeah.
that happened to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
great. And you do need a permit to enter the transfer station.
Yes.
Yes.
Which it's on the website right now, but there is a piece that's broken when you scan in. I think it's still broken, so make sure you have your license, right?
Okay, great.
And I will say, just on the idea, the topic of parking, is I'm a downtown employee and a resident. So I also need 2 different permits. So if you happen to work downtown, make sure you get both permits.
Yeah.
So.
For me, it's just a resident and then a trash permit, and and that's
Yeah. So
so you just there's a drop down menu and it's
Okay, great. All right, so how do I report a missed trash and or recycling pickup?
C-Click Fix.
Yes.
Oh, jinx.
Yeah. So if you have the app, if you have the C-Click Fix app, that's super easy to do. But I'm done downloading new apps. I can't stand it anymore that everybody wants me to download a new app. So what you could do is just go to the city website and click on where it says report a concern. And I just refuse to download new apps. So.
Well, with the app,
But it is a helpful app because then
Yeah.
you can follow it through the whole process and you can see what the resolution of the issue that you're reporting is.
Yeah. I mean, if you saw my phone, I have a million apps on it, so my kids
It's
see
all
it
too
and it
many.
drives them crazy.
It's all too many.
But with the app, I think, and Amy can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is you can snap a picture and then download it through the app, which is the benefit.
Yes.
So if you're in the midst
It
of
is.
something,
Yep.
and because for me, I'll forget by the time I get
The
home.
app is always better, The
Yeah.
app is always better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I think you can even attach a picture on the website.
You can, yeah,
If
I
you'd
think
like
you
to.
can.
Okay.
All
Easier
right.
to do, probably.
And I think also just notable, trash and recycling are now on the same day, but if it's a holiday, the trash is the same day still, even if it's a holiday, but recycling is the next day. So I think people are getting that. But
Well, it's major holidays too, so that can potentially get confusing, but we do send out notifications whenever there's a change. So if you sign up for a website notification for trash and recycling, you will get that information pushed to you by email or text.
Good.
All right, here's another chance to explain an acronym.
you take it.
There have also been several searches for how do I make an Oprah request. Perhaps start out by explaining what an Oprah request is.
Yep.
Sure. Okay, so OPRA stands for Open Public Records Act. And it goes along with another law, typically that's called OPMA, which is the Open Public Meetings Act. And both of them are state laws that local governments have to follow that prevent us from doing the business of the people without the opportunity for people to comment on it. And that's OPMA, that's the Open Public Meetings Act, which prevents us from having more than a quorum of council members together unless we've noticed it and unless we're talking about city issues. And then the other one is Open Public Records Act. And that one's really just meant to have transparency around government records. And so what that means is you can request from the city documents or communications about things of interest to you. So what you can do is go on the city website, and there's a way to enter there the things that you're looking for. It's good to be as specific as possible with dates and times, a defined time frame, what specifically you're looking for, documents or emails, and between whom. But generally speaking, the City of Summit's we tend to do things above board here, and we tend to do things by the book. So if you have a question about the way the government's operating or things that are on our agenda or things that we're doing, please just feel free to reach out to us. Our phone numbers are on the website, our emails are on the website, mailing addresses are there too. So we're typically happy to meet and talk about whatever the topics are.
Yeah, I mean, and I do want to recognize, I think
Yeah.
today in general, the overall sense in life is that people don't trust their government. And I think that is just something that we want to make sure that the reason why people request Oprahs is because they feel like maybe if something got like you get an answer you're not sure of, you do an Oprah because you want to find out what got you to that answer. And so what happens is people use Oprah for a variety of reasons to help support information that they're trying to find out information what's going on in the government. So I think the idea is, even with these Facebook Lives and the extra meetings, like hopefully we'll do more community meetings this year, that we build public trust. I think that you see that the more Oprahs that happen, it's that people are afraid that they're not getting the information that they're looking for.
Sure.
So it's really about public trust. But obviously, as an individual, I mean, any of us can do Oprah, but we're hoping this year, I really like that we're doing this.
Yeah, thanks.
I think,
Me too.
And I think that we're going to continue to do that because it matters that you feel like we're working in your best interest.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say
it's about, transparency, engagement, and I think we're taking a number of steps to go that direction.
Right.
And we understand that people want to be informed, and every time we can post or share something, we
yes,
do.
You
we
do.
both
Yes.
we both wrote it down right at the top.
I know.
And then
As
we
soon
didn't
as we
say
have
it.
info, we will share it.
Just didn't. we generally like to share as much as we can.
And finally, our consistently most often asked question is, how do I get a birth certificate?
That is so interesting. That's the most asked question,
yeah.
isn't it? Right. So that would be
Because that's Overlook is in town.
Yes,
There's
yeah,
a big hospital
yeah.
where everybody is born here.
Right. So do you want to do
Vital
this one?
statistics. Well, sure.
Yeah.
Vital statistics, and it's the door when you come up the stairs at City Hall. It's the door to the left. I pointed right, but it's to the left, the
Yes.
other right.
Yes.
So, and you can call ahead of time if for the hours, but they leave by 4:15. But I would recommend being here by 4 if you want to have it processed the same day.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think
perfect.
so.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. A couple more things. Lisa, I know you would like to talk about the internship program.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about any changes that are happening this year and what's going on with that?
Yes. So very exciting. We actually, a press release just went out from the city. We've been working on ensuring that we have interns that come in that are going to be paid this year. I know that has been something you've
Yes.
been very concerned about.
Yes.
And it is a 4-week program through June. 5 interns will be coming in. They will be paid, and we will figure out where to put them in City Hall. But these are real, tangible jobs. And so when they're college students that have to be from Summit. So when they get out of this program, they're going to be able to have real experience that they put on their resumes. They'll understand public administration. They'll understand finance, marketing, communication. I've always been a real proponent of internships. I helped build one at HTTV. So if anyone likes video, also they're always looking for interns. Little plug.
Yeah.
But I find that it's super exciting. So please apply. Anybody that's from Summit and is a college student that's going to be home in June.
Yeah. So this internships, when I was in high school and college, I would have loved to do this kind of an internship at City Hall, but I needed to work in the summer. I needed to make some money in the summer. So that was not an option for me, and it's very important to me now that these are paid internships and that we're bringing in people who are going to be able to really help the city run in the summer. And I think these will be really valuable experiences. We've had interns from Summit that have gone on to intern at the White House, right? We've had interns in Summit that have gone on to work at the State Department and Google and a number of other places. And, I think it's a really exciting thing. So thank you everybody for seeing this through. Yeah.
Well, and I'll say this, being in a lot of meetings for finance, I realize that it's tough to find individuals in certain areas to work in public government. And so I think this is a really great way to bridge the trust, right? Bridge the experience and build the generation of the future. So
yeah. Hopefully more people will take an interest in municipal government work as a result, which...
Well, Municipal Government Week is coming up soon. I don't know the dates offhand, but I'll be working with, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but I'll be working with Amy and a couple other committees so that we can set up something around Municipal Government Week and help people learn about it, because I feel like it's really important
Sure.
and
Yeah.
builds public trust.
I want to say April or May, but we're gonna look.
We're
that
gonna
up.
look that up
Right,
and see
April,
when
first
municipal
week of April, first week
Yeah.
of May. I don't know, something like
But
that.
I want to give you another date. We're accepting applications for the internship program now
Yeah. Until
through March 10th.
Yes.
Okay.
Until March 10th.
And the hours that interns will be working will be Monday to Thursday from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m.
And how do they apply, Amy? I'm sorry.
You send your resume and a cover letter to hr@cityofsummit.org.
HR
For
at
human resources.
cityofsummit.org. Okay, so now till March 10th, send a resume with a cover letter to hr@cityofsummit.org.
Okay, and then Hometown Heroes. The deadline to apply is March 31st. Is there anything about that program you can share?
Sure. Well, this is a program. I think. I'm sorry.
It's in the 6th year.
6th year. Yes, I was gonna say 2017 or 2018, and I was gonna be right about that. We're in our 6th year of our Hometown Heroes program, and this is a really wonderful way to honor the people that are currently serving in our armed forces and that have served in the past in our armed forces, who are from Summit. And you walk downtown and you're filled with a great sense of pride seeing friends and family members up on the with their service listed up for everyone to see in the downtown and around. And it's a wonderful thing, and they go up before the Memorial Day parade, so people can. It's really just a wonderful program, and the way to register for that is on the city website also, which is where should we send people on the city website?
It's in the news feed.
Front and center homepage. Yep, perfect.
Great. Okay. And
More to add on that?
No, you just made me remember that the internship has been 14 years.
Oh,
So
okay.
I thought
Well,
that was
significant.
Yeah.
And Municipal Government Week
Yeah.
is April 16 to 22.
April 16 through 22. Okay.
Well, I
so
was
we'll be.
off.
I mean, and
That's
I'm
okay.
interested if anybody wants to email us at the city, like, what would you like to know about municipal government? Is there anything in particular that we can do? But I'm excited to work on that.
Some special stuff
Looking forward to it.
that week.
I have to tell you, I've learned a lot about municipal government. When I first started, I work in the legislative office too. Nobody really knows the difference between what the city might do versus an assembly versus a state senator. So it's wonderful work to be on council and learn how much we can be a part of a solution.
Yeah.
And I've learned that it's great to work with city staff. So I just want to.
Yeah.
Well, we like working with you too. All right, so here's a question from Scott.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Could you please update residents on what the city knows regarding the status and intention of the owners of, number one, Buddy Seals Service Station and the old Lumatron property he owns at the southeast corner of Summit Avenue and Broad Street? And number two, Bristol Myers Squibb's intentions regarding ye old Celgene Edison Junior High School property off Morris Avenue.
Okay.
I don't know about Buddy Seals, but
Yeah, I don't know anything about that first one.
I think this question might come from, and this is me just guessing, that a while ago we saw this another Broad Street.
Oh, the Broad Street East thing,
Yes.
right? Which in our first Facebook Live we totally eviscerated that rumor, which is not happening. There is no such thing as Broad Street East. There was that developer that had something listed on their website, but they had, I think, one meeting with city staff, I think in early or maybe a couple council members and the mayor in early 2020, and it was flatly rejected at that time. So we were not interested in an area in need of redevelopment. We were not interested in the proposal that they had. And I can tell you, while I'm council president, we will not be doing anything that has anything to do with Broad Street East. So if that's what that question was related to, then I hope we addressed it. If it wasn't, we will look that up for you, and we'll figure out a way to get back to you on that.
But have we heard about Buddy plans to do with the property? Has anybody mentioned anything?
Not to me, no.
No, I mean, I think it's an important distinction to know that Broad Street West is an area in need of redevelopment that is owned by the city. This corner of where the gas station is has not been deemed as in need of redevelopment. No. So if they sell as a private individual or business, the city doesn't own that land, so we don't know. We have no intention of developing it as a city because we don't own that land. So I wouldn't know the process to change that.
So number one is no idea, but we'll get back to you.
Okay.
Number two is the Bristol Myers Squibb East Campus, which is the one close to the community center, was because they're both on Morris Avenue, was sold to a development company called Onyx. And so I think that transaction has taken place. But Onyx so far has not submitted anything yet to the construction office by way of an application for a site plan for planning board or anything before the zoning board either. But that's my neighborhood, so I've taken an interest in that, and I think everybody's concern is with potentially more housing, right? And that's not a possibility for that site. I think they're, so far from what we've read online, and again, they haven't submitted anything, but from what we've read online, I think they're looking to keep it in office use. So, and maybe they'll do some renovation there, but it'll remain in office use.
Yeah, and if they want to try and change it, it has to go through zoning.
Yeah, but there's some other complicating things that make it really pretty hard to do any housing there whatsoever. Okay. So, yeah.
All right. I have one more question before I'm going to ask you two to tell us what you're working on in committee and if there's anything on the agenda that's going to be interesting. And we may have already addressed this, but let's just repeat it in case. How will we measure the success failure of the 30-minute parking on Union Place?
That's a great question. Parking committee needs to outline that. But we definitely, it needs to be done.
Yeah, we're gonna have to punt to them for this moment. But I mean, I think generally speaking, the things that we're going to be looking for, right, are how are the spaces turning over? Are we hearing from businesses that they're getting complaints from customers? There's not going to be. We don't have yet a surefire rubric of, a number of points this is going to work or a number of points this is not going to work, right? So what we're doing there with this change will have to be evaluated, and I don't know the time frame on that, but it's only just started. So I think we have to give it some time for hopefully behavior to start to change. And again, if people want to park longer, they can go to those other places, right? And it's just a little bit of a walk, little block. That's it.
Yeah, and I'll say this. So parking will take it. So each council member is a chair for a committee, and so there's the parking committee, which is run by Councilwoman Hamlet. So they'll be reviewing it. She's on with Councilman Miniger.
Yep.
We would definitely, I would say potentially a survey to the business, potentially a community meeting geared just for that particular topic, which will kind of lead into what, may I lead into sort of what's on my agenda?
Sure. I wanted to also just add, if you don't mind, if people have opinion about the 30-minute parking or any aspect of parking or anything, they should really email their council people, and then you'll know what they're thinking, and that can be part of the decision-making process. Yeah,
we hear regularly, from residents about things that are on their mind, and we hope that will continue about parking and about really anything. But I'm sure we will hear from SDI, we will hear from Economic Development Advisory again, we'll hear from the Summit Parking Advisory again. And of course, it'll be sort of spearheaded by our Community Programs Parking Services Committee within Council.
Yeah, actually, that's true. We have the parking committee too. So
we have an advisory committee.
Right, an advisory committee. So there are two parking. So you have parking services and community programs that's with two council members, and then you have the parking advisory committee, which has
community members, business owners, residents at large. It's a good committee.
So we're not doing this in a vacuum.
No, certainly not.
No.
Certainly not.
No.
All right, so now tell us about committee work.
Yes. So we talked about, excuse me, we talked about interns. So I'm the chair of admin and community relations, and some of the goals this year are just identifying, working with communication and council president. How do we reach out to our community and elicit feedback so that we can work that into decisions this year? Some of the ideas that we've talked about are doing community meetings. So if there are specific issues, like a Broad Street West or a Maple Street or parking, does it warrant a community meeting that's just on its own? Can we do surveys? Just looking at ways and exploring how do we engage our community differently. And I don't want to say better, because I think that we've done a great job. So just kind of adapting to now post-COVID. I think that's the thing, is adapting to post-COVID, adapting to how we communicate, and exploring ways to ensure that people feel engaged. And then we did the interns, and also to come, we are inviting the utilities. So one council meeting will have PSE&G come, another council meeting will have New Jersey Water come, another one will have JCP&L, because with all the open street work,
We need updates. We need updates from them on when they are going to be fixing those roads. That they, these updates are important, and they're essential that they do to make sure that the utilities continue to run. But obviously, we know driving around town, these need to be fixed.
Yeah.
So, that'll be a good update to get from them. I think we were shooting for a March council meeting for PSE&G, right?
Yeah, so we're meeting, I have an AP meeting after this, and we have PSE&G coming, and we're going to
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Good.
So we're on it.
So Lisa, your acronyms, boy, what is AP?
Administrative policies.
Which is the committee that you chair, the
That-
council committee that you chair.
Exactly.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything else?
And then Municipal Week. We want to work on Municipal Week and see how we can engage the community that way. So, more to come. I mean, I could keep talking, but I don't know what time it is.
It's 12:36.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
It's your turn.
Well, we're doing great.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I've been council president for about a month and a half now, and I'm enjoying it, I think. I'm having a good time. So the council president assigns the other committees. And then, so I also sit on finance with you, and then Councilman Miniger, Andy Miniger, is the chair of finance. So, we're gonna have a pretty difficult budget season this year, and it's gonna be probably the third or fourth really pretty difficult budget season in a row. And so, like every year, we are going through now the process of going through every operating budget. We'll have another opportunity soon to take a whack again at the capital budget to make sure that we're investing in things that are important for our infrastructure and for our emergency responders, but also that we're balancing our debt obligation, because the debt and our insurance and healthcare costs are the two biggest drivers of the cost increase that we're experiencing as a municipal government. So it's going to be a rough budget, but we are going to have some really, I think, pretty good meetings about this, and we'll put out, like usual, our budget snapshot. And so finance is that's one thing. Of course, like I outlined in the council meeting last week, within a month from now, we're going to know what our path forward is on Maple Street. And then I also outlined in the council meeting on last Tuesday the potential path forward for Broad Street West. And it was sort of in the context of looking at a couple of resolutions that we were both adopted unanimously at the council meeting last week, which I think is excellent. One, which took subdistricts 2 and 4 off the table for consideration. So that's the area between the Y and the library. So we're not going to be doing any redevelopment there. And then also subdistrict 4 is kind of where we are now at City Hall and those couple of shops along Chestnut Street over by the corner with Broad Street. So that's also another area where we're not going to be considering redevelopment. And then the other half of that was we did renew the contract with our planner. And part of doing that was that we now, I think, have a pretty good idea of, as we enter these final phases with Broad Street. What is this going to look like? And I think we're gonna come have the opportunity for our lots of boards and commissions to review this, come back with something smaller that's compliant with the redevelopment plan, that emphasizes on-site parking and affordable housing, and also has really clear financials. So I think we feel pretty good about where we're headed with this, that relatively soon we're going to know there's something that works well for this community or there isn't. And we're gonna get on that path together, and then we're going to focus on a bunch of other things too. So those are the things that I think we're working on that I wanted to highlight. I also did just want to take a second to thank the Summit Police and the Union County Police and the State Police for their help in finding that resident who was in severe mental distress last night, and we hope that he gets the help that he needs. So those are the things I wanted to talk about, I think. Are we over time? We're over time, right?
Well, of course we are, but
Well-
that's fine too. We're at 12:40.
Okay.
Is there anything else either of you want to add?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Anything that we're missing? You think?
Listen, if anybody's interested in volunteering for the city, go to the city website, put in an application.
Yeah, please.
On the next agenda, affordable housing.
Oh yeah, we have our every year we're required to have our affordable housing liaison within the city provide us with a report of the activity of the year before, and so the 2022 affordable housing report is now up on the city website's affordable housing page. You can read that there. It's 4 pages. It's great. And then Matt Delory, who's our affordable housing liaison, will review that with council on Tuesday night, and there'll be an opportunity for council and members of the community to comment and ask questions on that as well. So, yeah.
So we also put that report on our YouTube channel, so you can go to the City
Great.
of Summit YouTube channel and watch it.
Great. Yeah, there was an affordable housing subcommittee meeting last night, and he'll give us the same report to the full council on this coming meeting Tuesday night. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you both so much. This was very
Thank you. Happy
informative.
Valentine's Day.
Happy
Yes.
Valentine's Day and
Yes.
happy birthday to
Thank you.
Greg tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank
tomorrow.
you.
And
Thank
his
you.
wife. Wait, when was
She was Saturday, last Saturday. So yeah.
that's cute.
Quite a week.
Oh yeah, lots of stuff to do this week.
And in case my husband's watching, happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you
Hi,
both.
Pat.
Bye.
Bye.